What is up, basketball fans? Welcome to the latest episode of the Harold McBasketball Show. I'm your gracious host, as always, Harold McBasketball, with my co-host, I Know Ball Paul. Paul, how are you, man?
Back in live in HD. I'm feeling good. It's not a
Fantastic.
very nice day here in Boston, Massachusetts, but this isn't the Weather Channel. So, yeah, feeling
Yep.
good. We're back after a little over a week. Harry's back in Houston. Last episode didn't do great, but it's the Harden episode. We expected it to flop, right?
Exactly. And I know we're in the middle of the off season right now, so basketball content's hard to come by, but you got to keep grinding. If you want to be in that elite 1% of basketball fans, you need to listen to these episodes every week. Y'all are missing out on critical information.
But get it, like Harden flop, Harden flop.
Yes, yes, big flopper, big flopper. Yeah, the comments are going to go wild for that one.
Yeah, that's a good joke. I've been thinking about that for a few days now. But Harry, what are we going to talk about today? I think this is going to be a really fun episode, actually. I'm excited to get into it. So what are we talking about?
Yeah, so for this one, we dusted off the old trade machine. I just like dive into some like potential trades that we think make sense for teams. Some have started to have been floated around in the media. Some of them not at all, and I kind of just made up, and like we'll see if they end up happening or not, or if they pick up steam at some point during the season. But really, it's just us just using our brains trying to see what kind of trades make sense across the league and having a little bit of fun with it.
Fuck the ESPN trade machine, man. There are so many times where they like wouldn't let me trade a guy because they're not eligible till the start of the season. It's like,
Yeah, it's like pretend it's the start of the season. Like let me just have this. Yeah. So don't
yeah,
don't
just
kill
let,
us if some of these aren't like immediately working on the trade machine. We got close enough with them. That's all that matters.
right. And maybe there are some little things that we're not considering, but I think for the most part, I just like try to line up the contracts
Yeah, yeah. We
and
can let
hopefully it
the
works.
we can let the capologists like really get into that in the comments, and you guys can have fun with if things would work or not. But realistically, like these trades can happen, and the teams just might need to jump through like one or two more hoops to actually get it across the finish line.
All right, let's jump into it, Harry. Do you want to go first, or I feel like we'll say our trade and then we'll kind of give our reaction why the other thinks it could work, could not work.
Yeah.
You want to go first? Do you have one that's really spicy?
I don't think it's like too spicy, but I think it's a good like palate cleanser to like get into this. So the first one I had was with the Cavs and specifically moving Jared Allen. I think it's a move that's probably coming at some point for the Cavs. They've put it out like once or twice into the media that they'd be interested in moving him. Mobley's clearly the future at the center or power forward position for them, and they're gonna have to pay him. And it's gonna get very expensive between Garland, Mobley, and Mitchell. So I think Jared Allen is just the odd man out. And even though they signed who did they grab from the Heat this offseason? Blanking on his name, shooter, small forward. Anyway, they grabbed him.
Bruce.
Yeah, they got Max Strus, who's like, helping to fill the hole a little bit at that small forward position, but I don't know if he's like the best long-term fit there. So the trade that I had mapped out was just like essentially like salary dumping him over to the Thunder, and in exchange they get Lou Dort, they get a 2025 Heat first round pick, and they also get Poku as just like a salary filler. But really, what they're doing is they're adding Dort to be like this like solid power forward defender for that roster who can also stretch the floor a little bit.
Hmm. Immediate reaction is pretty good. My palate has been cleansed. I think obviously the Lou Dort idea is very good because that's a hole they still kind of have to fill. And George Niang and Max Strus, not very defensive minded. They're great for shooting, but they still kind of need some guy
Yeah,
to
and like
run
they're
through
probably
elite
yeah,
four.
and like yeah, I agree. And like Struce and Yang, like they're probably not guys who are gonna play 30 plus minutes a game. Definitely not Yang. Like maybe Struce can get close there, but I think they just need one more guy who would help bridge the gap a little bit and just be pulled into matchups that make more sense. So he's not as sexy as Jared Allen. He's not as good. I think like objectively, like the roster gets a little bit worse with this, but it gets a little bit more affordable, especially with Poku being on and expiring. And I think that's really what the Cavs need at this point. Like they've got a core that's going to be great for the next decade. So they just need to make it. They need to just like make the money work at this point.
True, yeah. Jared Allen, his contract, he still has a few more years and he's making 20 mil. So like maybe they're not super in a rush to get off of it. Maybe they kind of ride it out for another season or
Yeah.
two. But I think they'll be looking for trades and I imagine they could maybe find a better package than that, but I don't hate it. I'd give it a
Yeah.
B minus.
Yeah, I think so too. It's almost more so that I just like love the idea of the Thunder making a move to get a center to kind of like
Yes.
play next to Chet because I think Chet's going to need the help at that center position, and I just like don't even know who's going to be playing center for the Thunder next season. Like that is just like such a massive hole there. So Jared Allen was like a quick one that came to mind. Like I really like that fit, but if there are any other centers out there that they could like hunt down and trade for, like I think that would also be fun. Like maybe I don't know. I don't want to like throw out too many names, but like just like I don't know, maybe like Clint Capella or maybe like Valanciunas, like one of those guys. Like any of them, if they can just like find like one of those like mid-level centers, I think that would be awesome for the Thunder. Capella is actually one I kind of like. I think that'd be a good move.
Yeah, and the Thunder have lots of picks, so maybe they could sweeten the pot a bit. Maybe one of their
Yeah.
young guys kind of starts popping off and they're willing to throw him in, like not J Dub, the other Jalen Williams or Kaysen, their new rookie, whoever. But they have some young pieces, so maybe they could entice the Cavs
Hmm.
with some of that. But I agree that they need a center. Chet's just he needs like a strong five, I think, to play next to in these early years. And so I hope they can find someone like that. I agree.
Yeah. Well, that was my first trade. What's your first one? What do you want to start off with? Feel free to do palate cleanser. If you're feeling more daring, go for something spicy.
I'll start with a little palate cleanser. This is kind of like
Okay.
it's not super sexy, not super big, but in my mind, it just kind of makes sense, and I like the idea of it. All right. So Indiana and Charlotte. Indiana
Okay.
trades Indiana trades TJ McConnell, Daniel Tice, and Aaron Neesmith, and Charlotte trades Gordon Hayward.
Very nice.
Gordon Hayward.
Yeah.
Hayward's on an expiring. He's got one more year. He's from Indiana. He's making a ton of money, and I'm like, hey, he could help Indiana. And then Charlotte just kind of needs more pieces to kind of deepen that roster. TJ, Daniel Tice, kind of some veterans, and Aaron Neesmith, whatever. But
Yeah. Yeah. And Gordon Hayward was gonna initially sign with Indiana until like Charlotte just made that like insane contract offer that essentially could not be refused. So there's been like a mutual interest there. And like yeah, Hayward's on expiring now, which makes it a little bit easier to digest his contract. And although he's had like major injury struggles, like I think he's still got valuable basketball like left in him. Like I think when he plays, he's good. And I think his role has been a little limited in Charlotte because they really want to focus on their young guys, so they're not really they're certainly not playing through him over there. I think he's still valuable. He's still a good shooter. I also had a Gordon Hayward trade actually, which is like cool. We both had that. I think he's a guy that makes a lot of sense to be moved right now. He's never made sense in Charlotte, but his contract's been too big to trade, and
yeah,
it feels like he can be moved now. And like I think there would be some teams that it would be. I don't say like desperate enough to make that play because you don't even need to really be that desperate, but teams who are just willing to give up like one or two assets to like take a chance on Hayward. So it's not going to take much to get him. Like you really just need to give up, like one, somewhat decent young player. It doesn't even be anything crazy, just someone with upside and then contract filler. And I think you can get there.
yeah. He's got one more year. He's making like 31 million. So, and it doesn't feel like Charlotte's the right spot for him, like you said. So, yeah, let me know what
No.
your Gordon Hayward trade is, or actually rate mine first, and then give me yours.
What's our rating system? Are we just rating out of 10 or
I mean,
out
last
of
time I said
20,
a
out of
B minus
5?
for your last one.
Okay. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I like using like school letter grades for trades because I feel like that's always the go-to.
Yeah,
I'm gonna give that. Read back the whole trade for me. What TJ McConnell, Aaron Neesmith, who
Daniel
else?
Tice.
Daniel Tice. Love Daniel Tice.
Yeah,
This is a Celtics trade right here.
yes. And like they need some more like big men, Charlotte.
Yeah, it's like I don't think I don't think I like him bad Tice, but like I still think like Neesmith is like a decent prospect, and I think he kind of makes sense on Charlotte. Like I think they could use kind of like a shooting guard, small forward off the bench whose timeline makes sense. Like I think that's good enough for them. I think I would give that. I think I'll give that. I'm gonna give it a B plus. I'm like I like it. I'm not like thrilled if I'm Charlotte. I'm like this
Yeah.
just feels like a full on salary dump. And I'd like to think like maybe I could do a little bit better if teams get desperate towards the trade deadline. But like realistically, like I think it's a good trade. I think it's a good trade for both teams. So I think that's like B plus, like right in that range.
And I'm kind of banking on the fact that Hayward would want to re-sign in Indiana. They have a ton of
Yeah,
cap room, so they could give him like, 15 to 20 million. Maybe he wants
perfect.
to end his career where he's from. So
Yeah, and they certainly have a need at that small forward position. Um, but so something I would be kind of like interested about would be, maybe if like the Hornets wait it out, Hayward's healthy this season, he starts, plays well for a couple of months. Like, does that value go up even higher to where like teams need to give up actual assets to acquire him? I don't know. I'm kind of like curious to see that. It's like obviously we're not taking that into account now, but we'll see. I'm interested. I think he gets moved, so we'll kind of just like see what that value ends up being.
all right, hit me with your Gordon Hayward trade. I might have to let my cat fucking out.
Go for it. Go for it. Let him out.
Yeah, yeah.
Be free gear. Okay, my trade is I'm trading Gordon Hayward to the Mavericks for Tim Hardaway, Rashawn Holmes, and then some kind of like filler to make it worth it. Because that's essentially just like the contracts to get us there. And then I think they'd either have to include like, a second round pick or two, because granted, the Mavericks do not have a whole lot to offer. Or they'd have like thrown like a young player, so maybe either like Jaden Hardy or Josh Green, which I think would hurt a little bit. But I think
Yeah.
if they do see Gordon Hayward play well for a couple of months, and he seems like he can be a viable scorer for them, they might get desperate enough to make that play.
I think that the key is that Horton would have to come out and look really good because that is a risk. And I think Rashawn and Tim Hardaway at least a bit provides some value, not a ton, but like
Yeah, I think I,
Rashawn
I
is
think they're
a
looking to move Tim right now. I think Tim's time is up.
yeah, not a great contract either. But I don't know, Rashawn, they definitely don't have a lot of big men, and I think Rashawn, there's a chance that that works nicely. So I'm not sure how willing they would be to move him, but if Hayward really looks enticing and maybe there's a chance he resigns, but could they even resign him? I don't know.
I think they probably could for a smaller deal. And like moving Rashawn like would hurt. Like they signed Rashawn Holmes for a reason. He's a good player, push shot god. But in order to like make the contract where he kind of needs to be in there, it would either be him or Maxi Kleba. And they also really like Kleba, and Kleba's also on a 3-year deal. So I don't know if Charlotte's like in the business of taking Maxi Kleba for 3 years. So because of that, I feel like it kind of has to be like Rashawn Holmes. Um, but if Hayward does look really good, it's like I kind of like how that would shape out the offense for them with like it's like Luca, Kyrie, and you got Hayward being like a really good shooter off of them, and kind of like a third playmaker potentially if he's healthy. And they got Grant Williams, also a good shooter.
Yeah.
And you can kind of plug in like whatever center is left on the roster. But I think it works, and like I think the Mavs like really need to look for one more move to solidify something at the forward position. And I think this could work. I think they could pull it off. They would just have to be willing to give up some of their young guys.
A Hayward and Kyrie reunion,
Hayward and Kyrie reunion. The duo that never was.
the duo that never was. Yeah, no, I don't hate it, and I think that gives Dallas more upside, obviously, and yeah, hopefully Gordon Hayward comes out and plays pretty well. Like if he's able to stay healthy, which he kind of has been recently, he's kind of awesome. He just gets to his spots. He's a solid
Yeah.
playmaker.
When he's healthy, he's still good. I mean, he just like hasn't been healthy. So I feel like that's just tanked his value so much. Um, but I also just like think being on Charlotte has made it because I think every time he gets hurt, Charlotte is like extra incentivized to make sure he takes off as much time as possible. Because they've essentially always been in tank mode. So the more games he misses, the more they're gonna lose. Even when he plays, they're like, we want to play through LaMelo. We want to go through our young guys. So it's like I feel like he probably has more in the tank than we've been let on.
Yeah, I wonder where his mind's at because at this point in his career, I think he can kind of choose wherever he wants to go. With this next
Yeah,
contract, he can probably make a decent amount of money, and it's kind of up to him to find the situation he wants. and maybe
Yeah,
he
yeah,
wants to win at
absolutely.
this point. He was
Yeah,
so
that
good
so good, dude. He could do it all. Like
before he got
sneaky good
injured.
athlete, great. He's kind of like just like one of those guys who's like perfectly well rounded. Like just like any night he can give you like 25 points,
Yeah,
6 rebounds, 5 assists. Great passer, super smart, hustles, sneaky athletic. Like he was just a great play. Absolute strap. Like the shot was great. He's like such like a prototypical small forward right now because
yeah,
the shooting was just like off the charts. It's a shame it never worked out for the Celtics. Um,
yeah,
and it's also like a little bit of a shame that like we didn't get to see a little bit more of it in Utah because I think he left the same year they drafted Mitchell, and it would have been kind of cool to see how Mitchell, Hayward, and Gobert worked.
yeah. I know. I think maybe they wouldn't have been able to get Mitchell without Hayward. Maybe I
I don't
don't.
know. I don't see why not.
Right, I'm trying to remember.
But but maybe there's like an incentivized thing because they did trade up for Mitchell. Granted, they trade up to like just like late lottery. But like maybe they don't make that if they still have Hayward. I don't know.
Anyway, yeah, no, but yeah,
Regardless, awesome,
it's a
awesome
shame.
player. Sad we didn't see more of him. One of one of the greater what ifs would be like if Hayward never got hurt and the Celtics actually got to run Kyrie, Hayward, Jalen Brown, Jason Tatum. That would have been awesome. Anyway, you want to give me a new trade? This is getting sad,
Yeah,
but rooting for a good redemption for Gordon Hayward.
I guess this one is I think there have been some like rumors or at least like a lot of trade ideas involve this guy. And since we were talking about Dallas, I think I'll let it fly. The idea is Minnesota trades Karl Anthony Towns and Mavs kind of do a sign and trade Christian Wood, Tim Hardaway Jr., and some picks. Like, I don't know, kind of whatever picks they have.
They better have a lot of picks because there's going to be, although there's like this talking point that Cat may not be a player that contributes to winning. Teams are not going to be able to resist trying to trade for Cat because like the numbers are still stellar. He says that he's the best 3-point shooting center ever. I think he's probably right. Like he is absolutely lights out from the 3-point line. Like I feel like he's sneaky one of the best shooters in the league. Um, so I don't know. I don't know. Like the Mavs would love to have Cat, but I don't think there's a world where they can put together enough assets to get him.
True, but Cat makes stupid money. He signed
It
an
doesn't make like that
extension.
that much. I
Do you
mean,
know
like
how
he makes
much
a
he's going to
lot.
make in the last year of his contract?
Oh, I don't. It's probably like what is it like 60?
Yeah, 65. He signed an extension. Like, so he has one more year making like 36. And then he's got
Yeah,
4 more years where he's making like 56 and then 60. Then in the last year, he makes like 65 million.
yeah. He's an incredible player though. It's like he missed a lot of time last year, so I feel like people are kind of like sleeping on that. But I still think he's like absolutely incredible.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's true. I guess the Timberwolves would have to be like, okay, he's way too expensive. We want more cap room. Christian Wood would be a nice fit, but like it doesn't seem many people are convinced on Christian Wood.
If they want Christian Wood, they can just have him because nobody wants Christian Wood right now.
True.
I don't think they have to trade Karl Anthony Towns to get Christian Wood. Um,
But yeah, I don't know. They could get him on a favorable deal. And Tim Hardaway expires in a couple years and they get off of Towns. And yeah, no, saying it out loud, maybe not as great of an idea as I thought, but hey, Dallas would get Cat and have a big three. So
yeah, and sometimes that's how like these trades work, where it's like I would just love this team to get this player, and like the trade kind of goes from there because like objectively, like yeah, Cat on Dallas would be absolutely amazing. I also don't know how Dallas has like so few assets. Like I don't know what happened to all their draft picks because they literally have nothing, and like they didn't really like. I don't recall them like really unloading the arsenal at any point. It's like they gave up one first round pick to trade up to get Luca. Great deal. They gave up one first round pick for Kyrie, but it was top 10 protected, so it didn't even go through.
I think
And
they,
I just don't know what else they trade their picks on, but they're all gone.
because the Knicks somehow I think have one of Dallas's picks, but I'm trying to figure out. I think the Knicks have the
Right?
next year's first round pick, but I'm like, how the hell?
I think you're right about that because I do have the Knicks on my list somewhere. I do have it written down that they've like The Knicks
Tim
have like four
Hardaway
first round
maybe.
picks next year. And you're probably right, but I hope not. That would suck so bad.
That
Oh
would
my
mean
God.
that what Dallas traded a first round pick for just Tim Hardaway's gross contract. I wonder.
Probably. Maybe I can look it up real quick. This great podcasting.
But no, yeah, Dallas. It's tough because they really do need like it feels like one more player, one good asset to really make them a legitimate team.
Yeah, it's kind of a tough thing because I just don't think they have like the assets to really like make a play like a legitimate superstar. So it's like I think they're gonna have to go for a player who's either like a high risk, high reward guy, or maybe someone whose contract another team is trying to get off, someone who's an expiring. So that's kind of why I thought Hayward makes sense because you can get him for cheap because he's expiring. And I think there are a couple other teams, maybe one other player on my list who could also kind of fit that bill that I don't want to spoil until we get to him. Um,
We can get to him.
we should do my cat trade first because I also had a cat trade.
Cool.
That I think is way better, which is why like your cat trade would never happen because this cat trade would happen instead.
True. I also
Um,
have two more cat trades, but
okay, good. I also have one more after this, so we can stay on the cat wagon.
okay. I have
So
a feeling we'll have one similar one, but who knows?
do you have the Knicks on there?
I do.
Yeah, of course. So Knicks trade easy. Julius Randle, Emmanuel Quickly, Quentin Grimes, couple first round picks.
Yeah. Mine. I undervalue cat, I guess, a lot. I said RJ Barrett, Evan Fournier, and like two first round picks.
I mean, that's not terrible. Like the way I see it is that I value Barrett higher than Randall. Which maybe that's not
True.
consensus, but I would just rather have Barrett because I just think Randall's still just like an absolute train wreck on the court. At least he looks like one. Like I know the stats are good. I know he plays hard, but I feel like every time I watch him, he just looks like he's just like chucking up shots. I don't know. I'm just like not that into Randall, so he just feels like the guy to move for me. So I feel like I'm almost like not like salary dumping Randall because then I think either they the Timberwolves might think he's a good fit next to Gobert, which could be the case. Like he is like a pretty ideal power forward next to a big center, or they just flip him again for more assets and they could probably get like one first round pick for Randall. Um, whereas I think Barrett's like he's still young, average 20 points per game. Like maybe he's worth more like two first round picks, maybe three.
True. Yeah. So maybe just one first round pick if it's the RJ Barrett, Evan Fournier package, or maybe no first.
Yeah, I would still say like one or two, especially because like the Knicks are just like swimming in picks, and they'd probably just have to outbid other teams. They also have like a ton of picks though, because they've like I think they had like four first round picks next year. I don't know how many of those they can trade. I imagine they could trade all of them, but the capologist might get on me for saying that. But I think what's also good for the Timberwolves with a deal like that is like they can go for like a really quick reload if they still want to like compete with Gobert and Anthony Edwards, because then they get Randall, so they still have like a pretty good big three there. And then they have four first round picks that they can use just like plug in any holes. And like maybe those parts will add up to something that's greater than the trio of Anthony Edwards, Gobert, Cat. And you also get Quickly, who's amazing.
Quickly is amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, and it feels like they might need a new point guard just because like they still have Mike Conley who's aging a little bit. So it's like you still can start Mike Conley, for 2 more years or as long as he's still good. And then when the day comes he's a little bit too far past his prime. Quickly joins the starting lineup and it's perfect.
Yeah.
I kind of love that trade. I think the trade makes a ton of sense for both teams.
You mean the one you came up with or the one I did?
I think both are good. I think I like mine a little bit more.
I think I like
Um,
yours a bit more too.
but that's just because if I'm the Knicks, I don't want to give up Barrett. Like if I'm the Wolves, I would rather get Barrett. But I don't know if that's gonna be it. Both are
I
good though. I think I like both a lot.
Yeah. I'm a believer in I don't know, Cat making 65 in the last year, like that seems like way too much. And I like the idea of a third piece with Ant and Rudy Gobert, or like kind of just getting good players to go alongside. I know Cat's a great player, but I tend to not think he's that conducive to winning, and that he's I don't know. I kind of want to see him out of Minnesota, and I think they can have a good team still with just Rudy, Ant, and some good pieces. But
Yeah, I kind of think 65 is where the league is going. And, I think a couple of years from now, 65 is not going to hurt that bad.
Yes,
Because
it is.
like there's gonna be players at that point who are making like 80, and it's gonna be like okay, like 65 like feels a little more appropriate now. Still gonna feel like a lot, but I think Cat's probably worth it. And I think his game will age well since he shoots so good. So I think he'll be an effective player throughout that entire contract.
He's carrying the Dominican Republic in this
He's looked
FIBA
great.
World
He's
Cup.
looked great. People love to overreact to the FIBA World Cup. Maybe if we have time at the end, we'll talk FIBA.
Yeah. Do you have one more cat trade?
Yeah, the only other cat trade I had is a team that I've been kind of like consistently throwing out there in trade talks now, even though like they have led on no such things. But like, I don't know, like let's get the Bucks involved. Like let's give up Chris Middleton for Karl Anthony Towns and just like call it a day. The Bucks get the Bucks get younger, which is good. Brick Lopez is like I think 37 now. So although he's been great, like he's gonna be out the door soon. Um, I know with the Timberwolves, like you just get more shooting around Gobert and Ant, which is kind of what you need.
Yeah, I like it. And I think that point of kind of replacing Brook, you know, replacing Brook with someone way better, you kind of are replacing Chris Middleton and Brook in one swoop. Kind of rejuvenating that team. There's like some kind of whispers that Giannis could be
Yeah, he said something like a few weeks ago. There was something along the lines of,
right.
this team doesn't show me that they're trying to win now, then I may not re-sign here. And I think it sounded worse in a quote because I think Giannis is probably pretty confident that this team is going to try to continue winning. Because
Right.
what else are they going to do? Like they have Giannis, like they're not gonna. They have no other option than to try to win right now. So I'm not like awfully concerned about that. But if I'm the Bucks, like I'm still just looking at trades that I think give me the best chance to win. And I would be trying to get a little bit younger.
How old is Cat? Like he's under 30, isn't he? He's
I think he's
27.
29. He's 27.
Turning 28 in a couple
See,
months.
dude. See, no. 65 million is not gonna be bad for him at that age.
Yeah, and it's in 5 years that he finally makes that 65. So
Yeah, and he'll only be like 32. He's gonna age gracefully. He's a great shooter. So I still like Cat. I still think he's a good asset. I like him on the Bucks. I think that'd be really fun. I think he'd look good in the Bucks jersey,
yeah,
which is
I,
also
I
important.
think yeah, I like that trade, and I like that you've kind of been bringing up Bucks trade ideas because I think
It's starting here. If someone on the Bucks gets traded, let it be known that like the seeds were sown on this podcast.
yeah, Chris Middleton though like needs uh needs a chance to kind of have a comeback. It feels like he didn't really have that chance last
Yeah,
year, obviously being out so much.
yeah,
So, but
yeah. Like this trade couldn't happen right now. Like they would have to wait, close to the trade deadline. Chris Middleton have to prove they still the guy he used to be.
yeah, agreed. No, I like it. I'd give that a minus
No, very nice. I'll
or an
take it.
A.
What?
The Bucks trade ideas I think are good, and I think you might be starting something, and I think we might be hearing more of that because there's like soft whispers with Giannis, and these guys are kind of getting old, and I think the Bucks are starting to worry a tiny bit with.
Yeah, they did kind of get smacked in the playoffs last year, also.
Okay, my last cat trade real quick is with Atlanta. Atlanta trades
Ooh,
DeAndre Hunter and Bogdanovich for Karl Anthony Towns, and maybe they throw in some picks.
yeah. I think there would probably need to be like, some person there. Maybe nothing like outrageous, especially because I don't think they have that many picks left after the DeJounte Murray move.
Yeah,
Because they did pay a pretty penny for him. But I like the fit there. Who did you have moving again? What, DeAndre Hunter and who was the other one?
Bogdanovich.
I like those players. Like there's definitely a mess in the front court after that, because then you still have Capella and Okongwu. Um, but like who knows? Then you may find another deal for those guys. And I kind of like the big three of like Trey, DeJounte, Cat. Cat puts a lot more spacing on the floor, which it feels like you need a little bit with DeJounte, just because like he's not really a floor spacer. So sometimes it gets a little bit crowded
Yeah,
with DeJounte and Capella out there. So I think it's a good move. But then they do also lose a lot of shooting on the wing by moving off Hunter and moving off Bogdanovich. But I think they get better with that move though. Like I think it's a trade you do if you're Atlanta.
yeah, and I think Cat would fit well next to both of those bigs, like you said, to be a bit of a logjam. But I think Clint is kind of maybe on his way out, kind of aging, and I think Okongwu and Cat would kind of be a sick, very complementary duo.
Yeah, that I kind of like. I think they'd have to find another move for Capella, which I think is probably in the works at some point anyway. Like I think they are kind of getting ready to unleash Okongwu as their starting center. Like the two guys are just so comparable. Okongwu maybe a little bit better. Um, so it's like, why are you paying Capella 25 a year? Then you essentially have two of them, but one of them makes 5 million.
Yeah, I feel like they're less comparable than sometimes people say though. Okongwu's like kind of weird, man. He can dribble, he kind of passes pretty well, a bit
Okongwu's good.
undersized.
Okongwu's really good.
Super interesting.
Yeah,
He's not just like
I
this
like
rim
Okongwu a lot.
protector. He can, but very
Yeah.
switchable.
Yep. Very true. Yeah. Yeah. I like that deal. I think it's a good one. I'm gonna give it a.
I think I'm once again slightly undervaluing Cat, to be fair. So
It feels a little bit low. I'm gonna give it a. I'm gonna give like a. I'm gonna give it like a strong B. I think it's good. I like it a lot for Atlanta. I think it's pretty decent for the Timberwolves too, because it still feels like they, could get a little bit stronger at like the small forward, power forward position. So I think like Hunter's a really good fit there. Bogdanovich is awesome too when he plays. I feel like he didn't really play last year, but
yeah,
still a great guy that people kind of forget about.
Serbian, I think. I know he's lighting it up in FIBA.
There's no way he's Serbian.
Well, he's something like that.
He's something like that. I just don't think he's Serbian.
Serbian.
Really?
Yeah.
Because Jokic is also Serbian.
Yeah.
Interesting. I didn't realize that there were two Serbian guys. I thought it was just Jokic.
Jokic never plays in, or maybe he has, but he's not playing in the.
Yeah,
And
which
I
is such a shame because I love seeing um the foreign NBA players play for their home countries. It's just cool to see. It's more content for FIBA, and when they're really good players, like their teams often end up being like really great.
yeah, we're seeing Kobe coming back to life through Rondae Hall Jefferson.
Monday Hollis Jefferson. Oh my God,
That
that tweet was like something else. I was like, can we not? I mean, like,
Rondae Hollis Jefferson is like definitely intentionally like doing something.
yeah, because like he's literally like he's number 24. He's wearing the Kobe sleeve. Like
He
he's literally
shaved
like
his head,
dressed. He's dressed just like Kobe. He's literally just like mimicking looking like Kobe. And
bald.
I'm like, I don't really know if like his game is like Kobe or if he is literally just like in a Kobe costume on the court.
He plays for Jordan, ironically.
Yeah. There you go. There. Granted, like there were a couple of clips where I'm like, oh yeah, this is like a little bit Kobe-esque, but I don't
It's
know. I think he's
Kobe-esque.
like,
Don't take that away from him.
he's like he's playing it up a little bit though. Like it's clearly like very intentional. I think, and
Yeah,
it's like the lefty shot that's like still a little bit broken, and I'm like, this isn't like all the way there.
true. Yeah. Funny though, because yeah, Jordan I don't think is a very good team. So he kind of he's like, yeah, you guys can't really stop me from playing how I want to play. So I'm just gonna.
Yeah, it just takes every shot.
But I think he said something along the lines of like Kobe's with me, and I'm always like, man, like, do you have the right to say
Yeah,
that? Like, let
no,
the
it's like
guy
you.
rest.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like you just need to be like, I don't know. There are some basketball players that just don't have. I don't know. They just need to fuck off at some points because who else was it? Like Denzel Valentine tweeting at that track star who said the NBA shouldn't
Oh
call
yeah,
themselves world champions, and everyone was like, Denzel, like get out of here. This is not for you to partake in. All right, you're an absolute disgrace.
that whole discourse was so stupid because it's like
So
it's
stupid.
what
It's
it
all
is.
over
It's
my
like,
timeline.
yeah, they're not world champions, but it is the best league. It's like, I don't know, who cares? I'm not on either side. Both sides are stupid.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like no one even really calls it the world championship. Like everyone just calls it the NBA championship. So like,
Exactly.
I don't
And
know.
then
That
like
discourse is dumb.
they're like, oh well, if you play in the Olympics or FIBA, you can call yourself world champions. It's like, yeah, great, but like saying you're an NBA champion is better than saying you're a world champion in that case. So
Yeah, there's a reason like the best players don't really play in FIBA anymore. It's just 'cause, like, and like FIBA's great. I love it. I wish the best players did play in it, but the reality is just like the NBA championship means more. It's like that's why all the top talent is playing, in the NBA and not always in FIBA.
anyway,
Like Jokic like straight up isn't even playing.
right.
He's the best player in the world.
Funny that Doncic is playing, and I think him and like Goran Dragic's brother,
Zoran.
Zoran Dragic. They're like the two big guys for
uh,
Slovenia.
that's
The one
amazing.
and
Yeah,
two. The
yeah.
one, massive space, and the two.
What a duo.
All right, we have 2 minutes left, so we're gonna part two this and actually talk more trades. But that was
Yep,
a fun
deal.
little aside. So
Yeah,
be right
that was
back.
talking FIBA.
What are you sipping on, Harry?
This is a St. Arnold's. It is a local Houston beer. Very light, very delicious. It's called Fancy Lawnmower. It's excellent. So here's a little plug. They're today's sponsor. They're paying us a lot of cash, so make sure to purchase.
Yeah. Uh, link in the bio. Anyway, back
Yep.
to some trades. I can't believe you're drinking on this show, man.
Dude, whatever. It's past 5 o'clock. This is happy hour. That's fair game.
All right, you want to give me another trade that you like?
Yeah. Yeah, let's get a little bit spicier. So this one kind of ties into last week's episode a little bit, and I was talking about the Clippers and how the Clippers are kind of in like a little bit of this precarious spot where we don't really know what they should do. They clearly don't know what they should do. No one really knows what they should do. This one, they decided to trade Kawhi. So I'm trading Kawhi Leonard to the Kings for Kevin Huerter, Malik Monk, Barnes, and a first round pick. So the Kings then have Fox, Kawhi, Sabonis as their core, and the Clippers kind of shift to getting a little bit deeper and just getting players who they know are going to play. Herter, great shooter, feels like he would fit well with Westbrook, Paul George. Monk has been amazing for them. Harrison Barnes is still a fantastic shooter and a solid player. And they get a bonus pick in there, so they can get a little bit younger.
I don't hate it. Well, I mean, I like it even, could I say. Yeah, the thing is like they'd have to trust that Kawhi would be viable because they're taking a risk there
Mm-hmm.
and kind of throwing away some stability.
The Kings are giving up a lot there. Like they need to be like pretty certain that Kawhi is going to play, or like maybe not certain, but like really hopeful, I guess.
Yeah. I gotta say that in last week's episode, I think when we were touching on the Clippers and talking with Sean, like, I kind of gave the thought that Kawhi seems like over the hill a bit, and like to an extent he is. But he like, you know how many points he averaged last year?
I do not know, but I know he really turned it on in the second half of the season. It's like
Yeah.
he had like a really slow start to the year, but crushed it towards the end. Like I bet he probably got up to like 22 points per game.
He averaged 24,
Yeah.
shot 51% from the field, 42% from three, and he played 52 games. Like, geez, that's not too shabby. Like, I don't know. In my mind, he struggled a lot more. And granted, he didn't play the entire season prior,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't know. I think he had more in the tank than I maybe gave him credit for. And the injuries are a huge concern, especially when it came to the playoffs and playing, really, games on such short notice. But still, probably a really great player and a productive player, and maybe he is able to get back to 26, 27 points.
Yeah, that's a good point. And if you're the Clippers, like you're probably still better off just rolling with Kawhi. Because like the thing about this trade is like Kawhi is certainly like the best player in it. So like whoever like has Kawhi has a better chance at making it to the championship. But they probably have like less of a chance at like being good over a long period of time. And it's a bigger gamble. So it's kind of like, would you rather be on the safe side and have these like decent role players? Or I would say good role players. These are like great role players. Is like, or would you rather like just like take that gamble on Kawhi being healthy? And that's probably still the right thing to do, especially if you're in the Clippers, where you're in a little bit of a weird spot.
Yeah, because like from the Clippers' point of view, no matter what, if you have Paul George on that team, you're still kind of gambling. And then it's like
Mm-hmm.
you probably still don't even have enough to like really be gambling on a chip. Whereas if you have both of those guys, if everything falls the right way, then you have a legitimate chance at the title. So I don't know if they're enticed by kind of just some role players to throw around Paul George, and like they already have like a pretty deep roster. So I guess I don't know if the Clippers would be so willing to take that trade. And then the Kings, their first success in a very long time. Would they take the risk? I assume they would because the upside is so high and that could really take them to championship level. But Clippers, yeah, I'm not sure if they would be in on that trade.
Yeah, I think it's probably a trade where Kings say yes, Clippers say no. I love the idea though of the Kings trying to get a small forward though. I think they're in a position where they've collected a lot of assets. They could probably make some kind of move to get one more really talented guy to pair with Fox and Sabonis. And I think now's the time to do it. Like they're one of the better teams in the Western Conference, but it feels like they need to get better in order to like actually compete with like the Nuggets and other teams at the top. And like it feels like they're kind of done. Like I don't think that they really have anyone else like really coming up who's going to make a difference. Like maybe Keegan Murray will become that guy, but I don't know. I feel like they're in a position to just like trade outright for a really good small forward to help them take that next step. Kawhi was one I thought was interesting, but there are definitely like some other guys out there that they could take a look at with this kind of package.
It seems you're forgetting someone by the name of Sasha Vezenkov.
Oh, right, right. How could I possibly forget?
I agree with you, but Keegan Murray, awesome. Sasha Vezenkov will be.
Right, right. Sasha, of course. Okay, fine.
Listen, this will be a clippable moment where people will go like, wow, for once Paul was spitting. Sasha Vezenkov will be awesome. And like,
Yeah, where you're definitely like riding real hard on Sasha Vezenkov right now. Like if he
he's
plays
awesome.
out, like all the respect is going to go to you, but you've definitely like built your fort on top of that hill. It's gonna be tough to get off it if it doesn't play out.
I'm confident. I don't know.
Okay.
I think he'll average. Maybe I want to see do a little bit more research, but I can see him averaging like 15 points,
Mm-hmm.
being a very solid shooter, an awesome third option potentially. So
That would be cheeky. Okay, cool. Well,
sorry, I
give me
ruined that.
another one of give me another one of your trades.
Okay, I have a couple trades centered around OG Anunoby. If you want to hear
Nice.
those, or
Yep.
I
I've also got a Raptors trade. It's just not for OG.
okay. So one of mine is Toronto trades OG. Cleveland trades Karis LeVert and either Rubio or Okoro, and maybe a couple picks, some second rounders.
I like it, but I think the Cavs probably need to give up a lot more because I feel like the market for OG has been like established at like three, potentially four first round picks. So it's like unless there's at least like three first round picks in the deal, it's like I think someone else will offer more for him. But objectively, like I really like the fit. Like I really like the fit of getting OG with the Cavs. I mentioned earlier in this podcast that I really feel like they need an upgrade at the small forward position. I think that's an awesome fit. I don't know. Yeah, I think it makes sense.
Hot take, but OG's kind of mid.
Yeah, it's like I'm not gonna like die on the OG hill because like it is a little bit like an eyeball test thing for me where I watch OG and I'm like, I don't know what this guy's ceiling is. Like I think he's probably at his ceiling, but I think his ceiling's still really good. Like I think he's like one of like the best prototypical 3-and-D guys. He's like it's like prime Jay Crowder, which is a valuable player, probably a little bit better than that. So he's good. Yeah, give him like an 84 in 2K.
Prime Jay Crowder.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I to self critique a bit, I think the Raptors would definitely be looking for more youth than Karis LeVert and like Okoro, who probably doesn't show.
Yeah, like a Caro kind of blows, and Levert I think is more of like contract filler to make that trade happen. Because I don't think the Raptors have a whole lot of use for him.
So what about AJ Griffin and DeAndre Hunter?
For OG, I kind of like that actually. I think it makes sense. It's like the Raptors get like two young small forwards, kind of like DeAndre Hunter. Like best case scenario is gonna like essentially become OG Anunoby.
Yeah,
So might as well kind of just like get ahead on that. And AJ Griffin's like a really nice young talent with potential. So the Raptors can get him as like a bonus in that trade, and hopefully one of them like develops into essentially just like another OG, just a little bit younger.
true. And
I think
then
it's a good trade. I think it's a great trade. I think it's a great trade.
yes, let's go. OG ultimately he has a 1+1, he has a player option, and if he wants out of Toronto, I think the boat has maybe sailed for multiple like first round picks or like
That's
someone.
true because like you probably treat him essentially as an expiring contract, especially because I don't know what his contract is right now, but I imagine he's going to make a lot more money once he hits free agency. Do you know what he's making right now?
I have it written
No,
down.
we can just Google it.
18.
Yeah, like he's getting underpaid. Like he's gonna he can probably get at least like 25 million a year from somebody. So he's not gonna take that player option, which essentially makes him expiring. Why
Yeah.
don't the Raptors ever trade their players? Why do they always let them become expiring to get nothing for them? They really got nothing for Van Fleet. They're gonna get way less for OG now that he's essentially an expiring. Siakam's an expiring, so they're pretty much gonna get nothing for him. There's like letting it all turn into nothing.
Yeah, because like I was also kind of looking and playing around with some Siakam trades, but like I was like, man, there's nothing like really that made sense to me. And even when I looked online, they kind of seemed a bit ridiculous. So I was like,
Yeah, I have a Siakam trade, but it's like they're not really getting anything for him. It's like you're just getting like contract filler and dart throws for Siakam at this point, just because he's an expiring. Like there's like not a lot of value with that when there's no guarantee that the player sticks around past half a season.
hit me with your Siakam trade.
Siakam trade. My Siakam trade is Siakam goes to the Magic for some dart throws and Cole Anthony, Suggs, Jonathan Isaac, and Mo Wagner.
Oh, I mean, it'd
Mo
be
is Mo is
tragic
getting thrown
for
in for salary purposes.
you can't separate the Wagner brothers, man. That's fucked up.
Sorry.
Funny because Isaac, what he probably makes like
He makes like 17 million a year, so he's also kind of in as like a contract filler slash like I don't know, like maybe this guy's gonna be good again. I mean, if not, like at least he's a great locker room guy. Can talk about his book.
yeah, no, he could start promoting it
Yeah,
internationally, which is good for him. Yeah,
yeah,
I mean, that would be kind of awesome for the Magic.
right. I feel like it's a fun fit with like Bankero, and I think the Magic are like a really good candidate right now to consolidate some of their younger players, especially because they have like so many point guards right now between like Markel Fultz and Anthony Black, Cole Anthony, Suggs. I think it's really like Fultz and probably Anthony Black are like the guards of the future for them. So it makes Anthony and Suggs expendable. You throw in Jonathan Isaac, who just feels like that's just not panning out anymore, and he's just kind of a weirdo. And you throw in Mo Wagner to make the contracts work, and you get a guy like Siakam who'd be like a really fun fit next to you can essentially fit him in right in between Bankero and between him and Wendell Carter Jr. And I think it's like a pretty fun lineup. Like the starting lineup would probably be like Fultz point guard, Anthony Black can probably be like a hybrid point guard shooting guard,
Yeah.
Bankero, Siakam, Wendell Carter Jr. And I think that's like a legitimately good team in the East, and I think you're like pretty much guaranteed to be like a top 8 seed.
And yeah, I think Cole Anthony and Jalen Suggs, they're 22 and 23, both just turned. And like, it definitely hasn't looked great for Suggs, but he was a top prospect. And I think there is a world where he, turns out to be a good NBA player. I don't see myself living in that world, but
Me neither, but you never know.
yeah, he's shown
Dart
some
throw.
upside on defense. And Cole Anthony has shown that he can be a very productive player when he gets his touches. So like, yeah, I don't know. I think that's like a dart throw that I might be willing to take if I'm the Raptors, quite honestly. And like they need guards more than
Yeah.
forwards at this point. So
And just get something for Siakam because he's
yeah,
not he's not he's not staying after the season. Like he's definitely gone. You kind of have like something going on because it's like they added Pirtle back who I like, and they still have Scotty Barnes. So it's like just build around those guys. It's like a pretty decent young core. So just take some dart throws. Siakam still has a little bit of value. Bring on some young guys who are at one point top picks. See if they pan out. If not, like you're gonna lose Siakam for anything at the end of the year. So just might as well get a little bit more opportunity out of him.
what's the situation with like, does he not want? Well, of course he wants, but like they don't want to give him like a super max. Is he not eligible for one? Like, couldn't he get a massive bag from Toronto in theory?
It's a good question. I don't think he's super max eligible,
Right,
but
because he was
I think we know about that, and I don't think he's made any All NBA teams.
oh,
So I think he's only eligible for like the standard max contract, and I think like Toronto is like a little bit reluctant to give that to him because like the timeline just like doesn't really make sense right now, and like maybe they would still do that, but I don't. I don't think it makes sense. And I think the team is like moving in the direction where they want Scotty Barnes to be the guy. And I think as long as they have these like old guys who the team used to belong to, like the team will kind of always belong to them. Like as long as like Fred was there and Siakam was there, the team was always going to kind of operate through them because it had operated through them for like, years. So I think that I think they kind of need to move off of Siakam anyway to get the most out of Scotty Barnes, who they should be building around.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, no, I actually, yeah, I like that trade.
Yeah, I think it's kind of awesome. I think it's kind of awesome. It might happen. Who knows?
A minus.
Hell yeah, I'll take it. All right. You have one more trade, don't you?
Pretty much, yeah. This one's kind of a weird one. And it's between Chicago and Boston.
Oh, interesting. Spicy.
Chicago trades DeMar DeRozan. Boston trades Malcolm Brogdon, Pritchard, and maybe a pick.
Oh, this is icky. We're getting into this is just gross for basketball. Just because I love DeMar DeRozan. I think he's an awesome player. I just like hate the idea of him like playing for my team
Why?
because I just don't want to watch him try to shoot the 3-point ball. He just can't do it, and it looks very bad every single time. So I feel like purely based off like floor spacing, I just like hate it.
He's a
But he
great
is still like a really good player, like really clutch down the stretch. He's just like objectively just like an all-star caliber player. Like he's still a true star in the league. Passing has gotten really good, still pretty big. So like that is a fun lineup, and he kind of could play the point guard,
right. I see
but
the
it's
fit.
weird. It's weird,
He's a
and it's
great
also just like
playmaker.
he totally is. It also just feels like a lot of money between like four players, but that's probably okay. Because
True.
it'd
Yeah.
essentially be like all of the cap would essentially be going to JB, JT, DeRozan, and KP. Like that'd be like everything.
Yeah. DeMar is making 28 and a half, one more year on his contract. So like maybe if he expresses some desire to be in Boston, to re-sign there for like a bit of a pay cut, where he's like, okay,
Right? Getting back like 25 mil, maybe 20.
yeah, and just like a short-term contract, and he's like, hey, this is a team that is going to be in contention. I want to go here, and then I guess the Bulls are like, hey, maybe a pick. Brogdon's there for a couple
Who
years,
who are the Bulls getting that deal again? Run me through like the full Bulls thing. What they're getting: Brogdon, Pritchard,
and like a pick.
and and a pick. It's not terrible. I think Brogdon still has value, and I like the idea of looking to move Brogdon personally as a Celtics fan because I just feel like after we almost trade him, I almost just like want him gone now. I'm like, this is
Yeah,
your fault that we don't have Marcus Smart.
and
And
he's
and weirdly, I just feel like he just can't stay on the floor.
yeah, and now it seems like that could be a serious concern. The playmaking is not awesome, but
Yeah,
he's good. I mean, great
he is
defender, great
he is
scorer.
good. Yeah, I'll give him like an 82 overall in 2K. Solid player. Good
Yeah,
six man. He was 6 man of the year. Like he is great. He had a good role with that. And I do like DeRozan a lot. The only other thing I think about though, like would DeRozan, would the Bulls have other suitors for DeRozan? Because I kind of looped him into like my James Harden talk the other week, where it's like maybe like the Sixers would just straight up do like DeMar for Harden. I end up saying like I like the move better for Levine. Like if I'm the Sixers, I'd rather get Zach Levine in that deal. So who knows? Like maybe that would never happen, but I don't know. There may be teams out. Maybe not though. I was gonna say like maybe there's teams out there willing to offer more for DeMar, but I don't think like the market's like crazy for DeMar. So just because he's like aging, he's not a great shooter. But he's still a really good player.
yeah, shit. And we have like 5 first round, I mean, second round picks that we can just throw in there.
Yeah. What if the Lakers tried to do like D'Angelo Russell and like someone else making like 10-ish million or like 8-ish million, I guess, for DeMar? I feel like that'd be kind of cheeky. It might be a little redundant with LeBron though, because they're both like good passers, kind of ball dominant, not like amazing 3-point shooters.
I don't know to answer your question,
I don't
but
know
I
if they're
mean,
not there.
the Bulls definitely want some sort of future asset. Definitely not getting that in D'Angelo, I feel, in a way.
Yeah. Are you off the D'Angelo train? Because you used to be on it.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, he's just kind of like, I don't know how old he
Has
is. Like,
has he? Yeah. Has he? Has he just like solidified himself as kind of like
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 pretty
a
good.
J.R. Smith kind of guy, just like kind of inefficient, like good scorer, like gonna have his nights, but just like not sure if he's ever gonna have like the efficiency and the passing to actually be like a super viable starting point guard.
Awesome passer, I think.
Yeah.
But
It's so
efficiency.
weird though, because he was so good. He was so good on the Nets. Like on the Nets, like he like it seemed like he like really realized his talent for that team.
Yeah, no. At that point, I was like super on the train, and I really thought he was like incredible and like living up to his second round or sorry, second overall pick selection. And yeah, no, kind of regressed. Like I don't know, I didn't see much out of him on the Timberwolves. Like
Hmm.
I thought like at this point he'd be maybe like a borderline all-star, but just like no, he's just like a pretty good
Yeah.
player.
Yeah, I don't know. Part of me still wonders if they've just been like weird fits. And if you get him back into the right situation, they could get back to where he was with the Nets. You know, maybe not like that good, but I feel like he should still be a 20 point per game scorer.
Yeah, I think he could be still. And I don't know, I just love the way he plays. I love that he's a lefty. He's kind
Yeah,
of
he
has
looks awesome. The
interesting
swag
shot.
is like off the charts. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like maybe that's like what everyone buys into, like because maybe everyone just looks at him and like obviously he's like one of the most fashionable players in the league, the most fashionable in the league. Maybe he might be number one.
I'd say yeah.
Um,
It's
yeah, so it's like the appeal is just like crazy with him. Like he's just so cool and awesome. But like
yeah,
maybe that does result in him being like a little overrated.
and he kind of
Like
plays the
so
game,
want him to be good.
at his pace. He really like controls everything, which is maybe
Yeah,
almost to his detriment because like the fast pace kind of style is maybe kind of more the meta right now. He like really takes
yeah.
time and wants to feed the post and
Hmm.
set
It
his
is interesting. I feel like that's happened in like a lot of the professional leagues recently, where just like peak athletes have just taken over the league. Whereas like football used to be these like really good route runners would dominate receiver. Now it's like just put the fastest guys on the field. Like the best receivers are always these like freak athletes. And it feels like the NBA is also kind of going that where the best players are just so much faster than everybody else.
yeah. I mean, in soccer, it's crazy how in like the forever it was like these really skilled midfielders. They were doing all these tricks. Those guys were considered like the goats, but now it's like nah. It's like it's wider, it's pace, it's like spreading out, and
Yeah.
that meta has definitely changed as well. So yeah, no.
Yeah, for sure. All right, well that's the D-Lo rant. Was that your last trade?
Yeah, actually pretty much.
Yeah.
You got a
I'm
trade?
also wrapped then. Nope, that was it. I'd five trades prepared, so those were all of them. Maybe do like a should we do like a quick recap, just so like each of them, just like the main five or however many.
Sure.
Yeah, so mine were Jared Allen essentially for Lou Dort, Siakam for Cole Anthony, Suggs, Isaac, Mo Wagner, Cat for Randall Grimes, quickly a couple first round picks, Hayward for Tim Hardaway, Rashawn Holmes, and Kawhi for Herter, Monk, Barnes pick.
All right. My quick recap. I've got a cat for a Christian Wood and Tim Hardaway, and maybe a pick. Uh cat for DeAndre Hunter, Bogdan Bogdanovich, maybe a pick. Cat for RJ Barrett, Evan Fournier, and a pick. My best trade definitely. Indiana trades TJ McConnell, Daniel Tice, Aaron Neesmith. Hornets trade Gordon Hayward, who ends his career in Indiana, retires.
Awesome trade.
Toronto trades OG, Cleveland trades Karis LeVert, Okoro, and some picks. Atlanta trades AJ Griffin, DeAndre Hunter. Toronto trades OG Anunoby, DeMar for Malcolm Brogdon and Pritchard, and some picks or a pick. And that's oh shit. I actually have more. I forgot.
Any worth noting? Any ones that you quickly want to shout out for the end of the pod?
Yeah, let me just
Yeah,
the
go off.
Clippers trade Paul George, Knicks trade Julius Randle and Evan Fournier.
I kind of like that.
All right.
Clippers get a little bit younger. Knicks get a little bit better.
Yeah, more durability for the Clippers, and then kind of a higher upside, I guess, for the Knicks.
Yeah, I think it's a solid deal. I think it's good. I think it's better than my Clippers deal.
Let's go. Yeah, I don't know. I might have stolen that one from Bleacher Report, but whatever.
That's fine. That's fine. They don't have to know that. We'll
Uh,
cut that part out of the video.
okay, Detroit and Memphis. Detroit trades Bojan Bogdanovic. That's the older Bogdanovic.
Oh yeah. He's a great trade target. He's got to get traded this year, right?
Yeah, I mean, and then Memphis gets Brandon Clark and Zaire Williams. All right, great reaction. And then my
Okay.
last one, Brooklyn and Chicago. This one's kind of a wild one. This strap in, okay. Bulls trade Zach LaVine and Lonzo Ball. Brooklyn trades Ben Simmons, Spencer Dinwiddie, and 2 first-round picks.
Wait. Restart that. Restart that.
That one, yeah.
Give it to me again.
Zach LaVine and Lonzo Ball
Yeah. Lons is an interesting throw in, but yep, continue.
for Ben Simmons, Spencer Dinwiddie, and 2 first-round
Okay.
picks.
All right. Sure. That's like that deal's like an onion. I need like 30 minutes to like sit in front of that trade and like figure out what's going on. Because you're trading Lonzo Ball, who's like essentially worthless right now. But also like getting back Ben Simmons, who also might be completely worthless. So it's like maybe that just like washes out. So then
Right.
if like the Nets, you're gaining Levine, and if you're the Bulls, you're gaining Dinwiddie with like potential upside for Simmons maybe playing.
But
Um,
Dinwiddie would be an expiring deal.
okay.
Simmons they have to put up with for a couple years, and then they just get some first-round picks.
Okay. Sure. I like it. And like the big thing is it gets like Levine and Lonzo off the books in exchange for picks, which I think is like a legitimate thing they could do.
Exactly.
Okay. I like it. It's creative. It's fun. I like that.
Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons.
Ben Simmons. I'm very interested to see Ben Simmons. Like a little part of me is still holding out that Ben Simmons like still might be good.
Me too, man. Me
Like
fucking
if there was like a world where I could get him on the Celtics for like and only pay him like 10 million a year, I'd be like, absolutely. Like we have to make this dart throw.
because here's my
Like
question. Like, what makes him so much worse than like an average starting power forward or like center that can't shoot? He's like a versatile big.
yeah, but he literally shoots like 30% from the free throw line. Like it's not like he shoots like a shitty like 68%. Like he literally just like can't make them.
That's it.
Um, but really think what the issue is like beyond that, just like he
Yeah.
almost just like does he just doesn't want to play right now.
Deeper than that.
Because I think if he like wanted to be on the court and play, like he would, and I think he would still be good. I think that's just like the big question everyone has. Like no one like really knows if he's gonna like play meaningful basketball again or if he wants to.
Because like I was thinking I couldn't think of anything that made any sense. And like obviously Ben Simmons is such like a whole other like
Oh
if he
yeah,
was on
big
the
counters.
Mavericks, that would be kind of cool. Like they desperately need like a defensive big man, and I'm like, oh,
Yeah, totally.
it'd be
And I
interesting.
feel like I feel like there's some young shitty teams that should be willing to like try to trade for him right now. And because it'd essentially be like a salary dump for the Nets. Maybe the Nets want to wait and see if his value is going to go up. Because really he just needs to step on the court and he'll be worth more.
Yeah.
But if you're a team like the Wizards, like just try to like cobble something together. Just be like, we'll give you like 2 second-round picks and some expirings for Ben Simmons, and like maybe he'll become something cool. If not, like we're tanking anyway, so that's fine. That helps us suck.
Yeah, only 2 more years you gotta,
Yeah.
put up with it. So I think it's worth it at this point. 38 million is a shit ton on the books, but like you said, it's becoming less and less every year, and like guys are
Yeah.
making way more.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. I'd be interested to see if Ben Simmons, the name comes up in trade talks during the season.
Well, that rounds out my list and the 3 I had forgotten, but I'm glad I put those out there. I got to remember to scroll.
Yep, those are fun. Those are good ones.
Yeah, this whole episode
Sweet.
actually lots of fun. I like trade scenarios and coming up with fun little ideas, and if teams do them, we'll again look like geniuses. So
Yeah, absolutely. If they don't happen, it's fine. It's all just speculation. Everyone does it. Everyone loves to break out the trade machine every now and then and just like see what could happen. So that's pretty much what it is. But if any of these hit, you heard it on this show first.
awesome. Well, any closing thoughts, Harry? Anything you want to say to all the fans out there?
Nothing major. Just thank you for tuning in. As always, with the bar's like kind of low since last episode. So let's just try to surpass that. This should be easy for us. This is light work.
Yeah.
So yeah, just make sure you listen to this on repeat, and let's just do a little bit better than last episode. That's all I'm asking for this time.
But for the diehards out there that are always liking the videos, supporting, Sean's always in the comment section. We love you, Sean, part of the family.
Yeah,
We appreciate
big
you.
shout out to Sean.
Yeah, we
Might bring you
appreciate.
back on to save our viewership if needed.
Yeah, one of us might be out of a job soon, so we'll see. But yeah, God bless, guys. Thanks for tuning in to the Harold McBasketball Show. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah, we'll see y'all later.